Hello. Ayun. There we go. Hello. Welcome to the Geeky Ones, episode 94. I'm Jude. Next to me is Steven. And yeah, we're our episode today. We're gonna talk about our 10 favorite sports video games. And we can also say these are the 10 best of the best as well. Um yeah. Steven, any thought about why we did this list right now?
Okay, so the sports season is basically in full gear now. And the NHL season started last week. NBA season started this week. The World Series, as of this recording, has just been determined. The last two teams, it's the Atlanta Braves and the Boston. Sorry, not Boston Red Sox. It's the Atlanta Braves and the Houston Astros, the cheaters, facing each other in the World Series. I
World
don't know why.
Series.
It's them again. Um, so yeah, it's the perfect time because NFL, NBA, NHL, and MLB, and even F1 is ongoing at the moment.
Nonetheless, is ongoing, so that's one thing. North
It's
American
crazy. So
sports,
many sports in
international
October.
sports is going well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would like to put before we put our 10 best sports video games. We would like to give like in memoriam to Pro Evolution Soccer and FIFA because
Ah.
recently FIFA just cut ties with EA
Mm-hmm.
due to the fact that EA wanted to, EA was profiting a lot on FIFA. Yet FIFA itself wasn't being properly compensated. They they wanted $1 billion per year, which I think EA would have provided, but hey, they conceded. And for Pro Evolution Soccer, since last year it has been rebranded to eFootball by Konami.
Yeah.
And right now it's a bit wonky. The current edition is a bit wonky. Last year it was all right. Last year we had an all right version of eFootball, but yeah, they've transitioned to like a free to play game, yearly installment free to play game where they just keep updating and you can get modes, different kind of modes. You can pay for what modes you want to have, which is interesting.
Mhm.
I just hope they kind of fix everything there once it settles down. But yeah, we're talking about the 10 best sports video games. We just did that little segue because we don't have a football game. We have a soccer game on this one. So yeah, but hey, we'll start with our number 10 with professional wrestling. Now, professional wrestling is also a sport. It's although WWE Vince McMahon would always say it's sports entertainment, not professional wrestling. So, he'll probably get mad and riled up after saying that. But hey, our number 10 on the list is WWE 2K14. Now, WWE video games have had like an up and down history. We had like great years with the WWE SmackDown on the
Mhm.
PS1. SmackDown 1 and 2 are really great. Here Comes the Pain was awesome. SmackDown versus Raw was great. Was great, even until the very last ones, they were still pretty solid. And the WWE 2K had like a line of games to follow to like a huge legacy to follow to when WWE transferred to like 2K Sports. And so far, it's been an up and down ride with 2K
Hmm.
last year not releasing a 2K game.
I mean,
The-
2K22 is already in shits,
yeah,
right?
2K22 is having difficulties. I mean, 2K Sports is a weird it's a weird company in some ways. But yeah,
Yeah.
WWE 2K, though, still had some nice little bangers of games. One of them is WWE 2K14. Now, Steven,
That's
you
right.
take this one.
Okay. So, what made WWE 2K14 so good was not just the roster depth, but also just everything you can do within the game. You can add custom themes to your wrestlers. So I was barely a New Japan fan at the time, but I was able to like sort of create an Okada. I downloaded a Tanahashi creator wrestler because he was the first guy I thought of. And ang dami, grabe. As in, okay, when 2K14 came out, New Japan was not yet the big global sensation that we know that it is today. Pero people were beginning to take notice because of the
Mm-hmm.
CM Punk promo and everything. And the flexibility that their create a wrestler function had was amazing. You can change the face of your wrestler, you can change the body type, the body shape, everything, the painting and everything. And the best part about 2K14 for me, walang image limit on how many custom whatever you want to put. So let's say you want to put the Power Rangers in your game, go ahead. You can get the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you can get the Zeo Rangers, you can get the Turbo Rangers, every Power Ranger season you can think of. Somebody probably made them in WWE 2K14. Even I was even able to download mga beta wrestlers na Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens. This was before NXT became NXT, like the NXT that we grew to know and love. The actual NXT 2.0. Because the current NXT 2.0 is 3.0 in my opinion. Pero, it
It
is what it
actually
is.
is.
Diba? But it's fun. I'll be honest. The new NXT 2.0 isn't that bad. I mean, they could just slow down on the really like the showcasing of these new wrestlers kasi medyo na info overload din ako. Kasi Braun Breaker's cool because he sounds exactly like his uncle. Pero the other guys, Tony D'Angelo's fun, but like, dude, did they really not look at the name of Tony D'Angelo on Google and realize that Tony D'Angelo is a racist piece of trash in the NHL right now? But anyway, nobody minds the NHL anyway. um, but yeah, going back to 2K14, the creation suite is amazing. In universe mode, you even had King of the Ring. After that, nawala ang King of the Ring sa universe mode, which is insane. Kasi you could just do a basic tournament, but you can't add it inside universe mode. As in, I made Damien Sandow win King of the Ring so many times just because it fit his character so much. And Cody Rhodes, I made him Stardust and Goldust, and if if WWE 2K14 was a game today, it would be the perfect game to have an AEW universe. I mean, roster-wise, 2K19 would do it. You'll have the entire, almost half of the AEW roster on 2K19, but 2K14 in terms of gameplay with King of the Ring tournaments, the Road to WrestleMania, the history of WrestleMania story was just insane. Kasi 2K14 came out on the 30th anniversary of WrestleMania, so you got to do. It's basically like something like Jude will discuss with the 2K11. What's the term? You get to relive old games. You get to replay old matches. Parang
Mm-hmm.
ganun. So
Classic
you were
matches.
yes, exactly. You were able to replay classic matches. You got to do Brett versus Sean at WrestleMania. I'm not sure if it was Brett versus Sean, but I'm Brett versus Sean at WrestleMania. The boyhood dream has come true. They even brought back JR and Jerry Lawler just for that feature.
Mm-hmm.
Tapos ano pa ba? Undertaker versus Randy Orton. Like ang dami sobra. As in, I had no words. 2K14 was pretty much the perfect WWE 2K game for me because of tournament modes, like gameplay. There's too many things to discuss, but it's just a good game. Yun lang. If you still have a PS3, I suggest buying 2K14 because it was one of the most complete wrestling games.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, let's go. How are we gonna go? But yeah, 2K14. I think when it comes to WWE 2K, it's really an up and down because like a lot of the 2K games have glitches, crazy ass glitches, and
Yeah.
some of the modes are inadequate, some of the rosters are not enough, and yeah, the image limit kind of hurt the possibilities of being a bit more creative. But yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
2K13, 2K14 did a lot of good, and
Yeah.
yeah, it shows you that at least WWE 2K can still shine, and
Yeah.
they did with 2K19 recently. 2K20 was
Mm.
trash fire, so that was
Mm.
what that was sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2K22. Hopefully, they've regained their footing. Fingers
Mm.
crossed. But anyway, we're going to our next one. This one is a racing game. We have like a couple of racing games here. I think they dominate the list because we enjoy racing games a lot. But yeah, our number nine on the list is Burnout Paradise,
Mm.
and this is my favorite Burnout game of all time. Steven, have you played a Burnout game?
I have tried. Not sure if I have. Not sure if I have. Maybe I probably did. I just wasn't aware it was Burnout.
Hmm. Okay, how do we describe Burnout? Well, Burnout is essentially a series that allows you to drive fast, ram cars out of the road, ram traffic out of the road in order to win. So your goal is to take out car. Your goal is to win by or take down enough cars. And Burnout Paradise is like a level up in that series. I think it's the last big Burnout game, which is kind of sad. Even though it recently got a remaster, people are still looking for this. Like, where I want my new Burnout game. But yeah, more on that later. But we talk about Burnout Paradise. I think in the main entries of Burnout 1, 2, 3, Revenge, and this one, I think this is like fifth. This is like the fourth or fifth major Burnout game. And for the first time, it's an open world racing game. And we saw that formula being used in like Need for Speed Underground 2. If you remember that, Stephen, Need for Speed
Yeah, I
Carbon,
remember
Need for
that.
Speed Most Wanted, that series of Need for Speed games. Burnout kind of did the same formula, and Criterion Games created a really great racing game. Honestly, it's a sure Burnout is all about the adrenaline rush of Burnout is you crashing your car, right?
Yeah.
Crashing towards enemies, ramming them off the road. But yeah, it's also beautiful. It's one of those beautiful racing games around at that time because the driving was so fast and clean. Like you can feel the pace. The pace just feels so good. The breakneck speed. It's just fun. It's just a lot of excitement. The cars are great. Unlocking cars feels great. Feels great. There's like secret areas, the different modes, the fact that you can jump in and out, the fact you can jump in and out of different. You can find different racing events all across the map. You can ram various background objects as a reward. And I remember one of the ways you can unlock a car there is if you see it on the road, you can ram it off the road to unlock it. You have to take it down to unlock it yourself, which is a great challenge because I remember some of those cars are really annoying. But yeah, Burnout Paradise is really a fast-paced game, and it's remastered, so you can play it on all the latest platforms. It's on Steam as well, so like
Nice.
it's just clean. It's just so fun. Um, yeah. If there was one thing that Burnout could have had, that would have been great, is actual licensed cars.
Oh, really? Wala sila?
Yeah, That's one thing that they don't have.
Hmm.
I know, but they have like vague equivalents of certain popular brands. They even had like a fake Ectomobile, the Ghostbusters one, Ecto One,
Yeah, Ecto One.
like
Yeah,
their own
yeah.
version of the Ecto One. But it's not the Ecto One, but that's what they're going for. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's just so many enjoyment to be had. It's also really challenging. It took me a while to finish the main set of races, and after that, you're not even done. You're not even
Hmm.
really done because you have like tutorial, like other racing modes, other challenges to see because you have it's a huge ass city. It's Paradise City, and the cars are just wild. But yeah, on racing, we go to basketball. Basketball
Ah,
video games have been Great. Remember the time, Steven, where there were so many basketball games that it was kind of oversaturated because a lot of them are bad. A lot of the
Yeah.
basketball game licensed NBA games are bad, with the exception of like NBA Jam, NBA Live, NBA 2K. Those usually do well. NBA Street was like a little masterpiece there, even though it had a short run. But yeah, I remember NBA Shootout or what is that? I forgot the other one, but yeah, NBA games are a mixed bag. But until the likes of like NBA Live and NBA 2K arrived to the scene, we got the sense of consistency that
Yes.
basketball simulation can do well. And I think Steven, NBA Live '07 is the best of the bunch.
Okay,
Now
so
let's
this
talk
is
about
a this is a very nostalgia pick. But before that, shout out to NBA '08 to be one of the last games to feature the Seattle Supersonics. My cousin bought it for me from GameStop in the US just because we wanted to see what the game was like. I thought it was gonna be like NBA Live, but it wasn't. The game is NBA '08 is much easier, but I love the soundtrack. Sobrang random kasi you think of basketball as connected to hip hop, but for some reason it featured one of Sum 41's songs from the late 2000s, Underclass Hero. I don't know why it was there, but yeah, it was there. Anyway, going to NBA Live '07, this was the first NBA game my brother and I ever had on the PS2 when you could still modify when you could still modify video game systems. A long time ago.
mm-hmm.
And we were just so enticed by T-Mac on the cover. Um, we're not gonna say how we got the game, but I think you know what I mean. Um, the gameplay was so fun. It was basically it was basically Marv Albert and Steve Kerr pretending to be ESPN commentators because the graphics of NBA I think were still ESPN, but they got the TNT crew, which is very weird. But it was such a fun game because you could just enjoy the game. It's such a fun. I don't know how to describe it. It was NBA Live '07 was just fun. There's no other
Mm-hmm.
way to describe it because I was frustrated with the slam dunk contest because I kept on trying to learn how to dunk with Gilbert Arenas, Jason Richardson. This was the weird '07 Bulls with the weird lineup of Kirk Heinrich, Luol Deng,
Mm-hmm.
sino pa ba?
Larry Hughes, I think. Larry
Yeah, and then
Hughes,
there was this one
Andre
guy who was like always in the
Monciotti,
minor
Ben
leagues.
Gordon.
Yes, Ben Gordon. Oh my gosh.
Ben
Uh,
Gordon. Apart from Gary Hughes, I don't think a lot of them are really dunkers. So yeah.
it was when Big Ben just shifted from Detroit to Chicago, which was seen as like a form of betrayal.
Also, it didn't work.
Yeah,
let's let's
it failed badly. It failed
let's
badly.
put that let's put that
Yeah.
on.
But the roster was so fun because this was like literally before LeBron became LeBron.
Mhm.
Diba? Like it was. Oh, bless
It
you.
was around the time that LeBron had his like first set of playoff runs.
Yes, yes. It was when he literally
Really.
carried the entire Cavs team to the finals, but then he had a
Mm-hmm.
harsh lesson from the Spurs that you can carry a
Yeah.
team as far as you can, but if you don't have a
Oh
proper.
07. Wait, if we're talking about '07. 2K, NBA Live '07. Oh yeah, defending champion Spurs. This is like
Yes.
last legs of the Shaq, Dwayne Wade, Miami Heat era.
Yes, yes.
The Carlos Boozer, Darren Williams, Utah Jazz, which was really nice.
Yeah.
They tried to emulate. They almost tried to emulate how
Stockton Malone.
they were. Yeah, they were almost they were considered as like second gen Stockton and Malone, and Andre Kirilenko was at least serviceable there before he got addicted to World
47,
of
man.
Warcraft.
And then the Warriors
But yeah,
happened.
Spurs at its peak. The Pistons were still great there, even though
Yes,
without Ben
yes.
Wallace.
Because then they
Rasheed
still had,
Wallace,
the
Tayshaun
core.
Prince, Rip
Yeah.
Hamilton, and Chauncey Billups are not to be scoffed at. Gilbert Arenas, Washington Wizards before he just went all
Bang
bonkers and
bang.
stupid with whatever decisions he had.
Yeah.
For the next few years until now, he's still yeah. What else? What else are there? Wait, 2K.
2K
Orlando Magic
wasn't
had
the biggest
Dwight
yet.
Howard.
Yeah.
Oh, T Mac was the cover.
Yes,
T Mac was
T-Mac.
the cover.
So
So
T-Mac and Yao
prime
Ming were in the Rockets together.
prime T Mac and Yao Ming, which was really
Yeah.
good if they're healthy. And MVP Dirk was there. MVP Dirk here.
Oh, yeah.
And the We Believe Golden State Warriors, which was nice. Steven
Mhm.
Jackson, Baron Davis, Warriors were pretty great. They were really the underdog story where they beat Dallas, the number one seed, and
My cousin was there.
they went to the distance with the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, yeah. My
So
cousin was actually
that was
speaking of the
really great.
Warriors in '07. My uncle in the States, they were bandwagon fans at first because of that. Pero over the years, they really like invested in the Warriors, as in naging season ticket holders sila and everything after the
Mm.
Baron Davis era. Pero they used to be bandwagon, but they've gone through the harsh era. Then they went through the Monte Ellis era, which sadly wasn't the best for the Warriors.
Monte Ellis era. Well, let's just say the Warriors for the past 2 decades, before Steph Curry, were just not great.
They were
They're just
basically the
bad.
Kings. Yeah.
Yeah, they were bad. But yeah,
Yeah.
2K, 2K NBA Dive '07 is like peak NBA Dive because
Yes.
it was worth noting, 13 and 33 T Mac was around that time, so that was great. Um, but really great game.
It was such a good game. The All Star game 3 point contest and everything. You could do one on one. As in
Yeah,
everything 2K
it
does
also had
now.
classic
That's what they did.
rosters, if I recall correctly.
Sorry,
Like
the last what?
one of the first NBA games to have like old school rosters, like 50 stars, 60s
Ah,
all stars,
yes,
and then
yes,
the
yes. I
80s,
remember that. Like you could
90s
play the
all
old
stars,
like
except Mike. Yeah, of course you
yeah.
can get Michael Jordan at the time, which would be a different story later on. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, NBA Dive '07, peak NBA Dive at its finest. Honestly, like there's really any better version of NBA Dive than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what else? Next up, we have one of my favorite racing games of all time, Gran
Mm-hmm.
Turismo 4. It's on the PS2. It was a time. Burnout was on fire. Need for Speed was doing so well. Mario Kart Double Dash on the GameCube was like beautiful. Xbox was doing Project Gotham Racing and the early Forza games, and racing games were so good back then. Imagine we had so many options. And then we even had Toka Race Driver 4 if you want the ultimate realism simulator. Colin McRae Rally as well, to name
Honker
a
race
few.
driver? What's that?
Toka Race car. Yeah, it's a realistic one. It's where your car gets damaged and you can retire the race.
Oh
So
wow.
it's one of those early racing sims that were really so good. But yeah, we're talking about Gran Turismo 4 here right now, and it's one of the, it's. I would always argue this is the best Gran Turismo. Maybe Gran Turismo 5 or 6 can contest. Gran Turismo 6 maybe can contest. But for me, Gran Turismo 4 was the time when the franchise just evolved, like it developed into something really great.
Yeah.
And it was, real driving simulator was the tagline of all Gran Turismo games, and this is as real as it was back then. And I recall investing so many hours on this during one summer when I was in high school. It was so great because yeah, it was just worth the ride. It was worth the grind. Remember when in Gran Turismo you had to grind for your license. You actually had to drive properly for to attain a license. I remember having a hard time. I think I was only able to get an A or B class license a lower A that license. So it was really difficult. And there was a time, Steven, I used the accelerator. My accelerator and reverse and brake were on the right analog stick so I can control the speed.
Oh man, that's
Oh,
some
you can do that.
precision gaming there.
Yeah, it was really great though. It was because it really worked, especially if you're not playing on manual transmission. It allows you to just readjust everything, readjust your gears when you're turning, and it's so good because you don't even have to follow the racing line. Following the racing line doesn't really win your races. If F1 is to be concerned. But yeah, Gran Turismo 4 is one of the best selling ones. It's not the best selling. Gran Turismo 3 is still like the best selling one. But yeah, in a way, Gran Turismo 4 was a game changer because it just made a lot of adjustments. It had understeer, oversteer, and um it was an auto enthusiast's dream. Let's just say that. Like I remember unlocking so many Japanese stock cars back then. I wanted the Fair Lady stock car. I had the Mazda RX-7, different generations of the RX-7. So that was like really great. It was so cool. It was just like Christmas for a driving fan. And Steven, there's a photo mode in this game.
Ah,
The photo mode,
photo mode
the
before
first
photo
thing,
mode became commonplace,
yeah,
man.
you either pick a set location for that photo mode, or you drive around the track for a few laps and to get nice shots. I did both. It was so great. And then I remember, um, a photo on Gran Turismo is worth like a part of your save slot in your memory card. It's like a few
Oh,
kilobytes. It's small. It's a small file size, but it's there on your memory card. So it's really nice. And yeah, and then the music. Imagine the opening trailer of this game is Van Halen's Panama, which gets you
wow.
hyped up all the time. And yeah, Gran Turismo in general has great racing soundtracks. And we're talking about great racing soundtracks. We talked about Burnout Paradise a while ago, right? Burnout Paradise was like pop punk and metal at its finest there, like 2000s pop punk. And Gran Turismo was like a grab bag of everything. It had rock, it had jazz, it had pop. It had everything you want on a driving playlist, and it's always fun. And and yeah, worth noting that Gran Turismo 4 focused on a lot of older models. It had the oldest car. It has the first Daimler Benz,
Oh
which
my
was
gosh.
so freaking slow. And yeah, remember the Suzuki Escudo, which was like a demon in any Gran Turismo game. If you
I
tune
think
it up
so.
properly, you turn it into a
Hmm.
near 1,000 horsepower monster that can dominate every race.
Grabe.
So yeah, but yeah, Gran Turismo 4 will help like pave the way for what future Gran Turismo entries would be. And now, Gran Turismo is like an online esport as well, sponsored by the FIA, which is great. And it
Nice.
allows and people are great who are good enough in Gran Turismo or can have been proven, they can be capable racing drivers as well. Give them an actual car and they can really do. That's how good Gran Turismo is as a
Yeah.
driving game. And yeah, this is just so great. Oh, worth noting that first car is the Daimler 1886 Daimler motor carriage. That sucked to drive in the game, but hey, it's a piece of automotive history. Oh yeah, Steven, the Nürburgring was there too. I
The
remember
what?
it's my first experience. The Nürburgring in Germany.
Oh my gosh, that
Yeah, it's
track.
just it's rough, it's brutal,
Oh,
it's
that track.
annoying, it's outdated. That track sucks in general, but you have to drive there. It's fast, it's dangerous, but it's historical. It's fun. It's fun in some way. But I remember not enjoying it when there were other drive when you have to overtake other drivers. It sucks.
Every F1 driver will agree with you.
Yeah, it sucks. The reason why the Nürburgring is no long should no longer be in any form of automotive racing is because it's a dangerous track that's like that's worse than a road that's rougher than a roller coaster ride in some
Uh,
rundown Midwest park theme park.
yeah.
So yeah, the Gran Turismo 4 best PS2 racing game, I would say. Even though there's like Burnout 3, there's Need for Speed Underground 2 to compete with that. No, Gran Turismo 4 is the purest one of all. Like
Mm.
it's difficult though. It's more difficult than what the other ones because it's realism. It focuses on real, but it was so fun.
Where
Okay, next up. Huh?
where can you save? Sorry, Jude. Where are you able to save your? Ano, are you able to download your photo mode, like the pictures you took in photo mode? Are you like able to download it, or is there no way to do that? Dati?
I don't think there's a way back then. Now I know we
Mm.
can. I know you can. I know through emulation we can finally do that. You know,
Yeah.
we can finally do. We can finally do proper. We can finally do photo modes. You can finally save up those stuff properly. But yeah, I can't remember if there's a transferable. Maybe there's a way to do it online. But
Mm.
PS2. But you know, PS2 wasn't really the best on the PS2 wasn't the best when it comes to online. The Xbox Live was like a pioneer in that way ahead of
Yeah, it
its
was
time.
definitely.
But yeah, I think you can do it online as at the very least. But yeah,
Okay.
next up we have Steven's background photo, and that is a hockey game called NHL 2K10.
Okay. Now, for those unfamiliar, there was a time when EA and 2K weren't just competing in basketball.
They were
They were
competing
also
in every
competing
sport.
in NHL, surprisingly.
NHL,
Uh,
NFL,
oh yeah, NFL. Shit. Oh nga pala,
NFL
Madden
until
NFL, NFL 2K.
until EA stomped the license to have them like the exclusive
Yes, yes.
public developer for that, and
Exactly, exactly.
that pissed off 2K Sports so much that they wrecked NBA Live, and
Yeah,
until now NBA Live
is
can
dead.
try to come back every now and then, but they can't really come back. So
Yeah,
that's
they just can't. It's
they
so
just can't
bad.
right now.
Then one of the weaker games that they've had was the NHL 2K series and the NHL series. So for the longest time, EA has made, NHL games. They're the only ones who make it. And
Mhm.
as a person who has been playing since NHL 08, I've experienced the heartbreaks and the pains of, features suddenly disappearing. If you see my background right now on my photo, it's the Winter Classic or the outdoor games that the NHL does. Um, EA took, I can't remember how many games before they finally got the outdoor game. In NHL 2K, pagdating ng 2010 season, they already have the outdoor game in the game. Like, these little details that 2K always looks at, that EA loves to skip, was what made me love NHL 2K. To the point na kung meron NHL 2K10 ulit sa PS3, or like if, I'm sure 2K still has the assets somehow. I would love to
Mhm.
see them create a new 2K game, NHL 2K game. That's how much I trust 2K. But yun nga, what's done is done. NHL 2K10, I played it on the Wii, so I wasn't really the best version. Pero ang saya ng game kasi, one, you could clean up the ice during intermission or halftime, in other terms. So during the
Mhm.
breaks or in your half times or intermissions, you could actually become the Zamboni driver and start playing this mini game where you drive the Zamboni and clean the ice. Walang reward, pero it's just fun. Tapos, there's also the other mini game wherein if your character wins the Stanley Cup, you get to walk around and skate with the Stanley Cup. EA has made NHL games since the early 90s. Never have they ever done this in any of their games until today. they are already in NHL 2022. You still cannot skate with the Stanley Cup. NHL 2K was able to do it on the PS3 and the PS2. How is it that you cannot do it on such a powerful system like the Xbox or the PS4, the Xbox Series X and S, and the PS5? These little details are what made NHL 2K10 stand out for me. It wasn't the gameplay kasi gameplay-wise panalo EA talaga. Pero sa like even graphics panalo EA. Pero sa little details like mini games and practicing with your teammates and so many other things like sorting your characters, your players by tree or sorting your players by age. These things EA can't even do. Sobrang basic. So NHL 2K10 is so good because of the little details. That's why I love it, and it's still one of my favorite hockey games ever. Tsaka I made Shaq. I made Shaq in the game. You can make a 7-footer in the game, unlike EA, which has a
Seven
height
foot
limit of 6 foot
hockey
9.
player.
Sorry.
So you can make a 7 foot hockey player. That's
Yes, you can
basic.
make a 7-foot hockey player in NHL 2K. So I made Shaq in NHL and made him a goalie for Arizona, the Phoenix Coyotes. Kasi that was at the time nasa Suns pa siya. So I just put him there for fun, and he's a giant goalie, 7-footer goalie. He just left the team at the time, but yeah, now they're on TNT together. So NHL 2K10 is my favorite hockey game because of the little details. That's it.
Awesome. Now from NHL, we go to another we go to another wrestling game on our list, and it's my favorite wrestling game, maybe all time probably. It's WWE SmackDown versus Raw 2006, and I
Oh
remember this. I remember there was a time, I think this was like Christmas season,
yeah,
where my where what was that? My mom's gift was like a few PS2 games. I think I remember it was like it was a mix of like Metal Gear Solid, SmackDown vs. Raw 06, King Kong, Peter Jackson's King Kong, which is really great, and Burnout. I think Burnout. No, Burnout was after. Bro, either after. And SmackDown vs. Raw 06 was one of them.
oh
And
man,
yeah, I really enjoyed. This was my time when I was like starting out, enjoying WWE.
yeah,
Um, and SmackDown vs. Raw 06 was came at the right time because it was so good. It was really good. You really want SmackDown vs. Raw. That series like um carried on from the SmackDown WWE SmackDown games from Here
yeah,
Comes the Pain and just improved it. They went from they went from arcadey to a bit more realistic in '06. In SmackDown vs. Raw in general. And that's what I like. It's WWE storytelling, the slow pace, the drama, the common tropes of coming back or like crawling to the rope. Those are the best parts of what those are what made WWE SmackDown vs. '06 great. Like those details in that game, like it shows you what like ring psychology is. Like working on a certain body part to win a match. I remember just like focusing on the leg and going for a Boston Crab or an ankle lock to win a match easily. Like those stuff you can't do on old WWE games, right? You just have to
yeah,
bash them in until you can spam them with like 3 to 4 finishers in a row.
yeah,
But on SmackDown versus Raw, you had like you had to have strategy. You had to have like you had to think. You had to get it. You get into the mind of what a wrestler would do in a certain situation, and that's really cool. You can replicate what your favorite wrestler does. And let's talk about the reversals too, like how
oh
realistic the
my god,
reversals are. So great. Like, oh man, every SmackDown versus Raw. greatly improved on each, adding a new move, new reversals, new ways to interact with the environment. O six was really great on that because it had so many aspects of simulation. And apart from that, we have like a lot of wrestlers. This was Batista and John Cena getting their first set of world titles, which was the best part. We have Eddie Guerrero, who just we have Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio, always great to have there. We have pre-world champion Edge, who recently won the Money in the Bank. If there was one problem in this game, I wish the Money in the Bank was implemented on time. But yeah, it had a lot of great rosters. It had young legend carrier Randy Orton. It had Undertaker. Had it had undefeated Undertaker. So that's always a treat. It had The Rock, Stone Cold, Bret Hart, all the legends. It had old school Shawn Michaels. It had at least two versions. It had Mankind. Although I wish that Three Faces of Foley was on that game too, all which would happen in the later one. So yeah, but yeah, SmackDown versus Raw '06. Also the soundtrack. Worth noting that WWE SmackDown versus Raw soundtracks are much of them are pay-per-view music, so that's really great. You can just get hype once more by hearing those songs, and that's the best part. And yeah, SmackDown versus Raw '06, everyone. Yeah,
Can we talk about
and
GM mode, please?
there's just so many great. Oh yeah, we can talk about GM mode. Wait, I was gonna
Oh.
go to somewhere, but yeah, let's just talk about a lot of the other match types first.
Mm.
Oh yeah, there was a buried alive match. This was the first
Yes!
SmackDown buried
Oh
alive
shit!
match,
You buried the live
and that
match, my
was one with
gosh.
the concrete with the construction equipment. That was the difficult one. It was so difficult to get the guy to bury alive someone in the game.
That's why you
But
always
it
had to
was
play
the
2 play.
best. It was always the best. It was just so fun.
Hmm.
Of course, Create a Belt is here. It's the second time I think it was here. Create a Belt was interesting in a way, and you also get the $1 million belt and the WWE Championship, the hardcore. Yeah, $1 million belt and the hardcore belt. You can win and defend that, and yeah, the other belts are here. WWE Championship, World Heavyweight, Intercon US, WWE Tag Team, World Tag Team. Remember when the two tag belts were like that?
Yes, I
And there
remember
was
the
women's and
separation. It
cruiserweight
was like,
belts.
yes, that was the best, man. That
And
was the
then
best. Paul
Create a
London and Spanky.
Superstar was yeah. Create a Superstar was good here, and Create a Stable. You can create your own faction, which is a staple now in a lot in WWE video
Oh
games.
yeah,
And I remember there was
yes.
like Create an Entrance, if I recall.
Create an entrance has always been a staple, and I love it. It's the best.
Yeah, and then you can create your move set. I love my favorite time was this wasn't on 206, but when the time you can create your own finisher was kind of mind blowing. That was great. But yeah, let's talk about GM mode. Now GM mode I think wasn't the first SmackDown versus Raw. Um GM
No,
mode in
it
'06
debuted in
was a bit more
'06.
what? It debuted in '06. Okay.
Yeah.
Now general manager mode. Uh
It's franchise mode, essentially. If
Yeah,
you were like talking in NBA
you
terms.
are the GM of either SmackDown or Raw. You pick one
Yes.
of the two brands, and for the year, your goal is to beat the other brand.
Yep, that's right. That's
And I
right.
always get my ass kicked by freaking Raw every week, uh, but still, it was fun because you really
Yeah.
wanted to see like what you can do. There was a time when my champions here were Muhammad Hassan and Carlito. They were the ones facing
Oh,
on the main event,
man.
and that was after I had an impressive like list of matches with Batista and Eddie Guerrero for that belt too. It was fun.
Oh,
Like there were there if you wanted to see like if Carlito can beat the Undertaker in a world title match, that your fantasy can be fulfilled on that one. Um,
It's such a good
it was
mode,
just fun.
man.
I think one gripe about the GM mode here, it was so raw. It was still very it was still very new. It was
Raw. It was very
it's not
raw.
as yeah, it was literally raw. It was
Pun intended.
it was too it felt undercooked pa rin. Like there wasn't like you couldn't pick like scripts
Yes,
unlike the other
oo, wala
modes.
pa.
You couldn't pick the scripts. You couldn't pick a storyline, which was very crucial in making GM mode way better in the later editions.
Like, you
But
could pick
then
the type
I
of
just love
storyline, diba? That's a mas
mm,
bago.
I just love the week to week basis. Like what can you do
Yes.
to boost someone's morale, right? Help someone or help someone recover.
Yeah.
it was a mess. It was managing a WWE roster is a mess. It was so
Ang
realistic,
dami,
but it
man.
was fun.
Yeah. And then,
But
I
yeah,
think
you
one
can
one
book
of the
matches
best.
at your own pace too. Like
Yes, yes.
I remember creating my own little factions. Since Vince McMahon loves to mission mash different wrestlers together, I
Yeah.
did that same approach. Created tag teams I wouldn't know. I was able to make like a weird ass tag team of William Regal and Tajiri. I think they were an actual
They were
team
a
at some
default
point.
tag team for Raw, yeah,
But yeah,
before.
I put them back together for to give like to give the other big teams like a team to beat or something like that. But yeah,
Nice, nice.
SmackDown vs. Raw 06 was so good. It allows you to just um experience how WWE does its storytelling. That was the best part.
Sobra,
And that's
sobra. And
what
then,
And then, I know the other WWE SmackDown versus Raw games. I know a lot of them did increase the pace like a bit. They made they made the game faster, but the elements there of like working on a limb and countering moves, it was still there. They just
yeah,
streamlined it a lot. But yeah,
yeah.
this was like
It was such a
still my
good
favorite.
game, man. Like,
Yeah, this is my favorite
Yukes was
wrestling
on
game.
another level. They were buying New Japan, and then they were making WWE games. Like, it was
Yeah.
an insane time.
Also worth noting that the graphics of SmackDown vs. oh 06, yeah, they were at
Yeah.
their peak too. They were
Yes.
great.
Tsaka ano, like, one of the best parts for me really was just GM mode, because you could it is literally fantasy booking things that we as wrestling fans, no matter what company WWE ka, AEW, Impact, whatever, kahit anong brand ka man,
You just
we
want to
all
see
love fantasy
you just
booking, di
want to
ba?
see how would this certain rivalry go compared to what you see on TV, right? And
Exactly, di ba?
that's the
So parang
appeal of it.
ang ganda ng option na yun.
That's the love of it. And
Yeah,
SmackDown versus Raw was like one of the first games that allowed you to the first games that allowed you to do that, and it was just
exactly.
this was near perfect. If
Yep.
only I think if ever there was one flaw, some people would say this is too slow for for a wrestling game, and
Yeah,
it
yeah,
is.
that
I
is
would
true.
admit it is. But yeah, this is still really great. Comment section, SmackDown vs Raw moment. Yeah, the moment that a diva on the any one of the women's division goes on the loading screen. Yeah, it's just
Oh,
it's like, but yeah,
oh gosh, I
true or
remember those
false.
times.
I
Like,
would
my mom
love
would be like, "What are you?"
Yeah, I still love but yeah, SmackDown vs Raw was just peak WWE video games during that time,
Yeah, man. Like,
and it helped
yeah.
create even better, even great WWE games in the next one. Oh 07 was great. It had Money in the Bank for the
Oh
first time.
man.
That's one thing. And then I remember
Yeah.
like oh 08 had ECW, so GM mode was three brands.
Yes, naging
I was
three
fighting for
brands.
my
Ang
life as a
galing.
GM of ECW all the time. I'd never pick any other brand, and that was the fun of it. And then it had. I remember, like, imagine I can get Undertaker to ECW. Screw the rules. That was the
Saya.
best thing ever.
Hmm.
But yeah, oh 06, SmackDown vs. Raw is in on our list the best wrestling game. Next up, we have this is skateboarding nostalgia right here. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 remake. Now, yeah, Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk was a skateboarding icon. Was a vert skateboarding icon because
Was he's still alive, man?
yeah, yeah, no, yeah, but yeah, in a way, Tony Hawk made skateboarding mainstream
Yeah, that's
via
true.
ESPN X Games because
During the 900, yeah.
street skateboarding was like really great though, wasn't it? But still, it was niche. Like they did not have like the TV time that
Yeah.
sports skaters have. So Tony Hawk helped bring skateboarding to the mainstream in a way, in a lot of ways. Like
Yeah.
you know, sure it wasn't like trailing street skateboarding where you do manuals, Caspers, and like Rodney Mullen would do on a
Yeah.
regular basis. But
Yeah.
it was great enough that you can see like this was skateboarding is a sport. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2 did that. And I would say, Steven, one thing I would say before we dive into deep, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is like, for me, the most immaculate skateboarding game. Even though there's no revert, even though the revert system was kind of flawed there, the manual system was still the street, the flatland tricks were still not refined, that
Hmm.
was still great. Like, that's still playable after all these years. So, Steven, let's go with this is your pick. So,
Okay. So what made the remake work so well was that they took the best of all the games from Pro Skater 1 to 4 and 5. I don't even know what 5 was, but they
five
took
sucked.
everything from
No, they didn't
5
take
song. Okay.
anything from that.
Basta, they took every good thing from 1 to 4 and maybe a few other things like yun nga, custom skaters, you can change their faces. Um, Customization wise, it's still not the best. Like ako personally, I want to add glasses to my skater. I want him to look like me.
Mhm.
But I can't. So I just pick whatever generic face is there.
Uh-huh.
The
Yeah.
funny thing is, you could even give your character lagging. Hold on.
No, it's fine. you're
All
you're
right.
back now.
Okay. So Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is a very simple game. Like the basic mission is easy, but once you get to the complicated challenges, that's where it becomes fun. Like completing the gaps. I am struggling completing gaps right now. I'm trying to finish School 1, yung sa Tony
Hell,
Hawk Pro Skater 1.
getting the skate letters are a nightmare.
Um, s- Surprising. I don't know if it's because it's a remaster, but it's easier to get skate now versus before. Kasi I played.
I think it's just the mechanics are like smoother than
Yes, the
before.
mechanics are so different now. Ang smooth na ng riding. Parang it's almost like you're skating in real life. Parang ganun. But there's just I don't know if it's nostalgia talking or what, but this is exactly what I remember from playing Pro Skater 4. So it's a really really fun game. Like wala akong masabing negative except for maybe loading times. That's probably the
Well,
only thing I complain about. Like it's such a
yeah,
good
well,
game
it's gonna
because
be
of
the
the
loading
options of
times
skaters and
are
everything.
gonna be a thing of the past now, so that's one thing.
Yeah. I'm hoping sa PS5 na the Pro Skater
Oh
series.
yeah,
Whenever we get the 3
if you've
and
seen the
4 remaster,
PS5 loading times, Steven, they don't
how
they only last for like a couple of seconds.
nice, nice.
So I think if you run the Tony Hawk remakes on the PS5, yeah, they barely load.
Okay. But yeah,
That's the best part.
I think what I like about the remake also is that it's the original cast of skaters. Alyssa Steamer, you got Kareem Campbell, you got Rodney Mullen, of course. You can't have it without Rodney Mullen, Tony Hawk, Steve
Bob
Caballero.
Burnquist.
Yeah, Bob Burnquist. But the thing is, Bob Burnquist does not have his iconic glasses, his goggles. Kasi nag-laser surgery na siya. So, wala na yung iconic glasses niya. But yun nga, ang maganda kasi, they added so many more female skaters. Because for the longest time, Alyssa Steamer was the only female skater. And
Yeah,
then over the years, street skating has become more popular, which is kind of sad at the same time because the likes of Tony Hawk are becoming much more rare. Because
yeah,
when
but
people think of skateboarding, but you
yeah,
don't realize that it's now street skateboarding is, for us here in the city. And then for
yeah, but
Brazil, it's Leticia
it's just a
Bufoni.
coming to full circle kind of thing,
Yes,
because
coming to full circle na.
skateboarding started on the street. Like,
Yeah,
the reason why skateboarding grew is because it was a street culture thing. It was a
yeah,
street sport.
yeah,
And I know vert skating is always great. It's impressive to see. But yeah, the fact that skateboarding is now an Olympic sport, and the fact that street was the first set of courses that were like added to the
yeah.
Olympics
And then
was,
Park came after.
yeah, skate street and park were the
Yeah,
first two. So like, that's mind blowing if you actually told like our younger selves that.
yeah. That we would have
I would
skateboarding in
love
the
to see a
Olympics,
vert
and that
skating in the
some of the
Olympics.
best
Vert
skaters in the
skating
world
in
now
the
are. Sorry?
Yeah, vert skating in the Olympics would be so good though.
Oh my gosh. Could you
That
imagine
would be.
Guy Curry, the 12-year-old, doing a 1080 in
Mhm.
the Olympics? He can do it because he's small.
Yeah, you can
He
get
can do it.
that's like the first one who does a 1080 gets the gold medal there. It's
Yeah, like
really
I don't even know like how you like even judge ganon kasi oh man, like I don't even know how to describe it. As in
Yeah, honestly, I think the best way to judge a skateboarding in an official is just to get the X Games judges. They
yes,
have done it too
exactly.
well.
Get the X Games people to do it na lang.
Yeah,
But
just
NBC
or
probably wouldn't do that.
just ask the X Games committee how they did it. So like, oh,
Yeah,
okay,
pretty much.
then the Olympic committee would just take notes. But yeah, Tony Hawk's wanting to remake. Oh yeah, the soundtrack, of course. Guerrilla
Oh my
Radio was
gosh,
one
soundtrack.
thing.
Fuck. Amazing. The soundtrack is just I used to wonder why Superman was such a familiar song by Goldfinger. And then I was thinking, bakit sobrang familiar na song na to? Not because I would always hear it on Jam 88.3. And I was wondering, how come this song is so familiar? Like, I don't know where it was. And then I started playing Tony Hawk again. I was reminded, oh shit, dyan pala galing yung song. That's where it came from. It's like, oh, okay. Okay, now I know why it's such a familiar song. And then there are times when I'm so bored that I will remove all songs from the playlist of the game, then just keep Superman on my soundtrack the whole time. Like I'm not even gonna play anything else. It's that much of like an iconic song for the game. As in, whenever you hear the song playing, parang may extra boost of confidence ka when you're playing the game. Is that weird to say?
Mhm.
Na parang, like that's the best way
Yeah.
to describe it.
Oh yeah. For me it was Guerrilla Radio by Rage Against the Machine. That was another one.
Oh man,
Next up, we get for me When Worlds Collide by Power Man 5000. That was in Tony Hawk. That was in The
SmackDown versus
Matrix.
Raw.
That was in SmackDown versus Raw, and that was in Gran Turismo 2.
My
That
goodness.
song, uh, that song rarely fails to like hype you
Yeah.
up.
Sobra.
It was just great. Those are really some of the best. That was at the peak of this peak skateboarding video games, and I'm happy that it's getting come back. Now people are wishing for another franchise, Skate, to come back because Skate is a
Yes.
bit more
EA Skate.
simulation
Mm.
oriented. So if Tony Hawk and Skate just come back, like we have a great run here. Also, like last year, there was Skater XL, which was an underrated skateboarding game, released in 2020.
Hmm.
Those were really great. Those that Yeah, skateboarding video games need to come back, and come back they should. So now we go to from the best skateboarding video games. We talk about the best basketball game, in my opinion.
Mhm,
This is
mhm.
NBA 2K11, and this is essentially the summary of this. Uh, the summary of this game is it's the Michael Jordan story mode for the most
Yeah.
part. But in general, but as a whole, it's a lot. It's a very deep game. It's a, you can Steven, your career mode here, you can go from you start from like I don't think it's college, but you start from you can start from preseason, summer league. You check like if you're like you have to try out if you're good enough, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And
It
then
was
if you're
insane.
not
Yeah.
good enough, if you're not drafted, you're in the freaking D League before you get into the NBA, and that was so good. That was so impressive for me to see because I wanted a career mode that deep, a basketball mode that deep, and that's not even the main attraction of 2K11. The
I
main
know, it was
attraction is that
insane.
finally Michael Jordan will lend his likeness in a basketball game. He never did
Yeah.
that. The last time he did that, I think, was like NBA Live 1998.
Wow. The
And
last
rare.
one of the
And
last games that featured him, no? Because when he was with the
yeah, and
Wizards.
then you don't see Michael Jordan in a lot of in those basketball games because he didn't want it. And then when 2K got it, 2K has beaten NBA Live because 2K11 was just something else. It was also one of the best. It's mechanically like the how it's played. It's just pure. It's really great basketball. I remember me and my friends back in college just playing this game. Um, I just usually play the Bulls or the '96 Sonics, and we run to it, and then my friend would like play
Man.
the 2011 Knicks. I remember scoring a game tying buzzer beater just to get to OT. That was still
Those were
one of my
challenging.
favorite gaming moments. Yeah, it was Kyle Korver shooting over Carmelo Anthony. That was how awesome that shot was. So yeah, but let's talk about Michael Jordan. So Michael Jordan, this is essentially his mode is like his story mode, a retrospective into his career, from his rookie season to his battles with Boston, Detroit, um, and then to him winning the championship. So beating LA with his iconic hand switch layup against Magic and the gang, and then his 6 3 pointers against Portland, where he just shrugged after, and beating his best friend Charles Barkley, and him playing baseball. No, I'm kidding. That baseball part didn't exist in the game.
It's basically the last dance without the baseball part.
It's basically the Last Dance, but you're playing it. You're playing the
Yeah,
Last Dance,
exactly, exactly. It was
and
so
that was really
good.
great. Um, and yeah, of course, I know every other NBA game has this, but yeah, when Sirius was playing on the United Center in this game, it was just hype. And I know that the Chicago Bulls would the Chicago Bulls at that time reintroduced Sirius when they had Derrick Rose like as their star. Oh my god, the timing was perfect. There was no better timing for that, and it was really cool. Yeah, you get to play Michael Jordan's entire career, and apart from that, you get to play the teams that Michael Jordan faced. So
Yes.
80s Celtics,
90s
Magic,
Sonics.
the Bad Boy Pistons. I always wanted to play the Bad Boy Pistons in the '96 Seattle Sonics because the '96 Sonics were just really good. Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, that left Shrempf on that roster was icing on the cake. Uh,
Chef's kiss. Like
yeah,
that's
it
how
was
good it
just
is.
beautiful. And of course, you get to play as the Jazz, 96, 90, 97, and 98 Jazz, which was really good. You know, those they MJ beat them, sure, but yeah, those are really great basketball teams, and I think the Olajuwon Rockets were there too. So the in between the retirement era. And I was gonna say the current roster as well. The current roster of 2K11, the present day of that time was also great. It had The Chicago Bulls were great there. It had MVP Derrick Rose. It had Joakim Noah Luol-Deng. It was Chicago at their peak. Sure, Carlos Boozer was there and he tripped over a gym bag, but that was still they still did great. They had the best record in the NBA. It was also the first year of LeBron James in the Miami Heat. That was impressive. It was the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers and finalist Boston Celtics. Those rosters are loaded, and we get the NBA champion Dallas Mavericks, Steve. We get that, the most underrated one. Imagine, who expected the freaking Mavs to win that championship in 2011? And
Insane.
also, of course, the Memphis Grizzlies were beginning to be great there. Those are so good. This roster, this NBA game is so good because the legendary the classics were great. The current ones were just on par. That was the best. This is the best basketball game 10 years on. You can't beat this. You
Like
can't
there
beat.
is no other, like I can't even describe it. There is no other better NBA 2K game until now
I
personally.
think I think there might for me. I think we might get a better basketball game soon enough. But yeah, this is like the piece. This is where you're gonna uh, base your entire standards on what a good basketball game
Hmm.
is. But now we go to our final two, and for our final two, we go to our casual favorites. So me and Steven picked same genre, different franchises on this one. And for
All
Steven,
right.
number two, it's Mario Kart Double Dash for the Nintendo GameCube. And yeah, I remember this being great. I remember the gameplay of Mario Kart Double Dash being buttery smooth for a racing game of that era. And that was so great.
Okay. So what makes Double Dash so good? Weight balance. No other Mario Kart game has ever had this much emphasis on weight balance. Like you can have Donkey Kong and Bowser as a team for their drive. They're gonna be slower, but they're gonna build momentum faster. Or you could be Mario and Luigi balanced, or you could be Baby Mario and Donkey Kong, and then you can have Donkey Kong up front for more momentum built up, and then you could switch to Baby Mario and you'll be a bit slower. Pero there's just so many driving options when it comes to Double Dash, like to the point that we still play it on our Wii sometimes. Because our
Mm-hmm.
GameCube, sadly, the lens of the GameCube is kind of broken now, sadly. So we're trying to find a way to fix it kasi sayang naman. We just don't know what to do with the lens. But the gameplay is simple because it's Mario Kart. You don't need to think about it too much. But my goodness, sobrang there has been no Mario Kart game like Double Dash since Double Dash.
Mm-hmm.
That says a lot. There's never been the whole two driver concept until now. They've never brought it back until now. I think Nintendo knows how good they had it sa Double Dash, so they're never gonna modify it. It's like what happened with Super Smash Brothers Melee. Like you
Mm-hmm.
did say na, diba, they still use Melee for esports until now,
Mm-hmm.
unofficially or officially. That Nintendo doesn't even bother touching it because the balance is like the gameplay and everything. The balance is just perfect. It's exactly how I feel about Mario Kart. It's just the perfect Mario Kart game. I've played Mario Kart 64 in my cousin's house before. Nostalgia would say, "Yeah, Mario Kart 64 is fun, but Double Dash, you didn't care about the graphics. You just wanted to win."
Mm-hmm.
Like there is just other way to describe it. Double Dash is so good because of weight balance and the variety of characters to unlock. If there's
It's
one game on this list that you have to play, kahit skip mo na yung mga ibang, kahit skip mo na yung mga recommendations ko, skip mo NHL 2K10, skip NBA Live 07, play Mario Kart Double Dash. Hands down. Hands down. It's that good.
It's still
I'm
one of the purest racing games. And let's go. Now for our final entry, we go to another kart racer. And for me, Steven, this is also another immaculate as heck kart racer, which recently got a remake. And to no surprise, it's still as immaculate as ever. It's Crash Team Racing.
nice.
And
Walang
Crash
chocobo
Team Racing
racing.
is the only rival to Mario Kart, and unfortunately, it never had like sequels to match the how prolific Mario Kart is. But when Crash Team Racing came along, it was one of the best kart racers. It still is one of the best kart racers. I remember it had the best drift boosting system. When you have to time it, you
Mm.
just have to slide and slide the whole track until you win. The amount of weapons, the tracks were so wild. You know, the tracks were either angular and really difficult, but they were designed for what you're supposed to do for the intended gameplay, which is like power sliding until you can't power slide anymore or until you win. And that was the best part. And Crash Team Racing had the entire Crash Bandicoot roster at the time, and talking about this in the remake added Crash Nitro Kart, and it just made everything HD, and that was so good. This is the game that this I think this is one of our first games we play like as a family here at home. So that was really impressive.
Nice.
Rarely games do that. Rarely games do that, and Crash Team Racing was really easy to pick up and play as well. And yeah, I just wanted to play as Neo Cortex every now and then, and it was fun. I was playing as Engine, or Pinstripe Potoru, but those were really great times. One thing, yeah, Crash Team Racing was just pure as a racer. Like if Mario Kart Double Dash was like one of the purest Mario Karts ever in how it plays and moves, Crash Team Racing is like the best kart racer on the PlayStation back then, and now you can argue that it's currently one of the best kart racers now in the remake form. Sure, Mario Kart would have the advantage, and the remake had this thing called microtransactions on
Oh
cosmetics, which is
man.
kind of weird. But hey, gameplay wise, it's still the smoothest kart racer around, and it was one of the best games. It's an all-time great. It's an all-time great. Like in terms of Crash Bandicoot games, it's a trilogy and this. It's a trilogy and this. So you can only have those four, and maybe Crash 4 pala. Crash 4 can ano. Crash 4 is great. It's really difficult, but it's what Crash Bandicoot is. It got the essence of Crash Bandicoot right. But yeah, that's our list, by the way. Yeah. Before we go, let's have a few messages. Steven, we do this for this one? Oh wait, let
Yeah.
me edit this one. Let me edit this one.
Okay. We're
Let me
gonna be
edit this one.
updating our little comic book giveaway, our digital comic giveaway, because thanks to our friend Derv, we are gonna be able to give a bigger prize once we reach 1,000 likes. We have a very cool thing that we'll have to post some other time. So
I think we
what?
we we're gonna do
Yeah.
this.
Once we reach 950 likes on FB and 75 followers on Twitch, we will be giving away digital comic book codes, where
Mhm.
gift cards that you can use to purchase comics online. So the thing with online comics is that mas mura siya. It's cheaper, you get to save on space. It's just on a little digital device. That's it. Colors are brighter. You can buy much more kasi a lot of sales happen online for comics.
Yeah,
So that's for
yeah, yeah. Good
950
deal.
likes or 75 followers on Twitch. We will be giving one code each for that. One on Facebook, one on Twitch. So for Facebook, just drop a comment. Give us one comic book artist who has joined us on the podcast over our 94 episodes as of this recording. Name one, like our page, and then drop a name on the comment section. For Twitch, just follow us. How
Yeah.
many followers are we on Twitch now, Jude? If we last checked, we were like at 30.
I can't check right now, but yeah, we're like
We're getting close. We're getting close.
yeah.
We're like we're at about. I'm surprised because I'm surprised that our YouTube channel is like doing pretty okay. Because I was shocked na our numbers aren't that bad.
We're
Hold on.
doing
Yeah, let me
well.
just
The fact
check
that we post
our.
our episodes at the same time as Facebook and Twitch on
Yeah,
in YouTube on two platforms is really cool.
let me just check our subscriber number right now. We are at 34. Okay, not bad. We're getting there. We're getting there. We are at
Yeah.
34 followers on Twitch. So once we reach 75, we are giving away digital comic codes. So 950 on Facebook, 75 on Twitch. On Facebook, we are at around 941, 942,
Mhm.
correct? Let me just double check
Yeah.
that. Somebody just liked our page actually just now. So thank you so much for liking our page. Well, let me just check. We are at nine.
After that, you're not even done. Because you
Mhm.
have the like
We are at 940. We only need 10 more likes before we give away that Comixology digital code. So once we reach 950, we are giving away Comixology gift card, and you can buy whatever comic you want. Just make sure the region's right. Um, yeah. So that's for 950. So luckily, thanks to our friend Derv Devinesha, shout out to Derv Devinesha for giving us this new prize for 1,000 likes. It is a Series 1. Let me just fix my camera here. You can barely see it, but let me just go back to the original here. It is a Series 1 Kenny Omega AEW action Series 1, part of the Unmatched collection. So this will be our new prize for 1,000 likes. So we're gonna have a different. Just like our page. Just like our page, and you're gonna be part of it, part of the raffle. So we are gonna make the stakes higher. We're raising the stakes. So once we reach
hmm
1,000, we're gonna be giving away this Kenny Omega Series 1 action figure courtesy of Derv Devanesha. So that is going to be humongous. And it has his tights from All Out September 5, 2020 in Jacksonville, Florida when they were in Daly's place. So that's going to be cool. And not just a figure, but it also has a belt coming in right there. So that is going to be the new prize for 1,000 likes.
hmm
That's it.
And we have this little giveaway there, and then let's talk about our our friends at Shopee, Steven. We have
All
I
right.
forgot what sale we
So,
have.
all right.
Take it,
So,
okay.
1111 is coming soon. Get those cards ready with our link, podlink.co/o2k. The link will be on our podcast description. We will be, well, we will, well, we get a small cut of each click. So you help keep the podcast running. All right. And then after that, for we want to talk about Podmetrics. So Podmetrics
hmm
helps us get better statistics, a better look of statistics on our podcast. If you want to start a podcast of your own, just sign up and use our code GEEKYJUANS at sign up. And that's about it.
Yeah, and yeah, before we go, be sure to check out our website, thegeekyones.com, where we do various blogs, geek blogs, supplement the podcast episodes, or various listicles. So what we've done recently is we've been doing like a 3 week series of our of best video games for each decade, and now the best vid now I a few weeks ago I did the best horror video games of the 90s, and this week I was able to do the best horror video games of the 2000s. So that's really good. Um, and next week we have stay tuned for the best horror games of the 2010s list. That's the last one of the trilogy, and that's gonna be really cool. And for our socials, you can follow at the Geeky Ones. Just at the Geeky Ones on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube. All on the same handle, so that for convenience. So that's really quick for everyone. And for a podcast, you can see, or you can hear out, you can listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. So yeah, the audio version of this episode will be available around the same week, around the next week, around the upcoming week. So every now. That's a regular thing. And then for Steven, you can follow him on Stevie said yep. So Steven, your turn on this one.
All right. So just follow me at Stevie Said Yup on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I vlog about hockey and other things that I am passionate about.
Hmm. And for me, I stream at Dude It's Jude on Facebook, and I'll be streaming a game called Unsighted. It's a nice little Metroidvania game, and it's looking to be one of my favorite games of this year. So that's one thing I'm excited to share with the people, and hold off on playing it because I want to play it on stream for people to see. It's really nice. It's a really great game that deserves more attention than it's getting. So that should be great. And also let's give a plug to our friend Abel Anselmo for the heels. I just bought his first set of shirts, and be sure to check out his Instagram to see like his upcoming stuff. That's really cool.
That's at
But
the
yeah,
Hills
this
2H.
this has been episode 94 of the Geeky Ones, and next week we're gonna go horror, back to horror, and we're gonna talk about some awesome stuff there. But yeah, until then, we'll see you in the next episode, and thank you so much for watching and commenting, and goodbye, guys. Bye.
Bye.